Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on very cold and in parts snowy weather we do have going on at the moment. We've got another 3 or 4 days left of this cold spell as that cold air started to arrive last night into this morning. We saw some very heavy rain in the far southeast, but some of it turned into wet snow over the higher ground. Again, a little bit disappointing compared to what some of the model charts we were seeing a few days ago. But again, the cold air just didn't quite engage with that lower pressure system. Elsewhere, though, we've got snow showers pushing in now, and that snow level is dropping to near enough sea level by the end of today. So any precipitation falling out of the sky through the next few days will likely be falling as snow or at least sleet or something of a wintry nature towards coastal areas as that freezing level does drop. So have a look at the live radar, look at where the shower activity and snow activity is at the moment. We'll look at the weather warnings as we do have multiple snow and ice warnings issued for the next few days. We'll look at the UKV, have a look at what the precipitation and the temperature is doing over the next 5 days, and then we'll have a look at the longer range, look at the GFS, GM, ECMWF and the ensembles. It does look likely towards the end of this week we'll have a slowish breakdown of this cold air, with milder air trying to push in but getting slowed down as higher pressure topples in over the top of us, and high pressure looks likely to be dominating at least for the next few days beyond this colder spell. Some runs have low pressure trying to come back in from the north, but others have high pressure sat over us, giving us a slack easterly flow, and is likely to producing colder conditions, but nothing exceptionally cold, just a bit of an inversion under that higher pressure with chilly easterly flow coming in off the North Sea. But of course, we'll have a look at that in more detail in the second half of the video. So, do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So, if we do start on the live radar, you can see this big weather front down across the far southeast. And this quite severe low pressure system that brought winds of almost 100 miles per hour across parts of northern France, and it gave very heavy rain and some heavy snow in places through the southern half of the country. Now, in the far southwest, over the higher ground of the southwest, we did see some wet snow and some accumulating snow around 300, 400, 500 metres, so moderate to high hills, especially for the south. For the southeast, we saw quite a big area across southern and southeastern parts to the south of London, where we saw falling wet snow or sleet with some temporary accumulations in places. But again, a lot of that wintriness was down to evaporative cooling, where the air did temporarily drop in very heavy precipitation, where we saw some of these darker greens and yellows, where there was quite torrential precipitation. Some of it was falling as snow, and again, not seeing any accumulating snow really, and if any snow did accumulate, it would melt quite quickly as the ground temperatures are above freezing still, and the air temperatures are going to be around 2 or 3 degrees today, so still slightly too mild for any settling snow. And again, as I said at the start of the video, it is unfortunate of everyone out there who enjoys snow that this did all fall as rain, as it's pretty much a perfect scenario, just the cold air hadn't quite dug in. If the cold air arrived a day earlier, then this would all have fallen as snow, and I wouldn't have been surprised to see widely 10 to 20 centimetres in the southern half of the country, and seen widespread amber warnings. But we didn't see that. We didn't see a yellow warning issued. Again, don't know why it was issued, because most of the models were suggesting falling snow, but nothing settling. And again, it fell at around 3 or 4 a.m, so I'm not expecting too many people up. But we saw a yellow snow warning, and again, we did see a bit of snow, but nothing disruptive. As we head further northwards, where we do have more issues with the snowfall, we've seen a lot of showers packing into Scotland, and will be packing into Northern Ireland over the course of today. You can see some very heavy convective snow showers here, and those will continue and just give the usual 10 to 15 centimetres in places for these areas. We've got another area of interest, a bit of snow here through northern England and the northeast. This did spread in from the Irish Sea, spreading across northern England, and it has dumped a bit of snow, a few centimetres in places. And you can see these showers are slowly heading southwards and eastwards. Again, it's very uncertain how intact these showers will stay, but a lot of the models do have some form of shower activity running down the East Midlands through into the London area in the southeast through this afternoon. But again, Will it fall as rain or snow is, again, depending on intensities and exact air temperatures and time of day it falls, and of course how intact it stays. As you can see, some quite heavy snow here through just east of Manchester, around Sheffield and Yorkshire, and that is heading southwards and eastwards into parts of the Midlands. So this could give some heavy falling snow for a time, and maybe even some brief accumulations if it does fall further southwards, and again got some more heavier snow for the northeast. And again, it's one of these situations where it's impossible to say exactly where this is going, as the models aren't forecasting it particularly well. So we'll just have to see what happens to this area of snow. And across the far southwest, we do have more showers packing in, and some of these will be falling as snow further inland, and that will be turning more to snow over the course of the next 24 hours. If you put on the temperatures, I'm recording this earlier in the day, around 11 a.m, and you can see that the temperatures are cold today. At the northern half, you can see where that real cold air is digging. In the south, still it's cold, but it's not quite as cold as it will be getting. Temperatures still here around that 3, 4, maybe 5 degree mark. Further northwards, more towards freezing, but that freezing level will be dropping southwards quite rapidly over the course of the next 24 hours. If you look at the weather warnings, we do have 3 warnings issued. We've got this widespread snow and ice warning that was issued through Sunday into Wednesday. Again, we'll look at this in detail, but it's for those very heavy snow showers packing into the north and the west, as we saw on the live radar. Again, maybe 10 to 15 centimetres of snow. We've got another snow and ice warning that's been issued today for parts of Northern Ireland from midday today until midday tomorrow, and it's again for those snow showers packing in from the North Atlantic. Again, a few centimetres at lower levels and higher ground, maybe 5 to 10 centimetres, and icy stretches likely to fall to form following showers, as those temperatures will plummet below freezing tonight. High likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. And we've got another snow and ice warning issued here through parts of northwest England into North Wales as well. Again, pretty much the same warning. Again, maybe 5 to 10 centimetres, high likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. Again, from today at midday until midday tomorrow. Again, all 4 convective showers, and those continue into tomorrow, and that snow and ice warning through Scotland finishes into Wednesday. And we have this yellow ice warning issue for the southwest through midnight tonight until 9 a.m. tomorrow. And that is because we're going to be seeing some showers form, maybe even some heavy snow. The models are very uncertain with how far inland and how intense the precipitation will be in the far southwest. A couple of models a day or two ago were showing a major snow event for the parts of the southwest. Backed off from that, with majority of the precipitation staying offshore, but still some could flirt with the southwest coast. And where it does fall, temperatures will be below freezing, and we could see icy stretches forming. Now, if you go over to the UKV and have a look at what the precipitation and temperature is showing over the course of the next 5 days or so, now you can see that rain and snow in the far southeast clearing away, and then again you can see the showers through northern England slowly petering southwards. And as I said, through this afternoon there is shower activity even inland through central southern England into the southeast. So again, how intact will that area of snow remain through northern England? We will just have to see, but it could potentially drop a few centimetres in places. Beyond that, we just see continued showers through Northern Ireland, Northern Wales and Scotland, and through the far southwest. You can see those showers pushing in overnight tonight into tomorrow, and those could fall as snow inland and over higher ground. And again, we'll have to see what happens with that, but there could be quite icy stretches. Continued snow showers in the north and the west just continue to come in off that northerly wind, and you can see through Tuesday it is a generally dry day for most in the south and the east, but those showers could drift further inland at times, especially through parts of Wales, southwest England, the West Midlands, and through Republic of Ireland. You can see those showers drifting quite far inland for a time there through late Tuesday into early hours of Wednesday. And then we've got to keep an eye on the east coast here with another little area of low pressure system running down the east coast. Some models recently have had that producing quite a bit of heavy snow down the eastern side of the country, but today the UKV keeping more of that precipitation offshore and just bringing a bit of shower activity through Wednesday afternoon down the east coast. Again, we'll have to see how that does play out. Continue wintry showers through Thursday, but slowly getting cut off as the pressure does rise and the winds do lose their intensity. And then low pressure tries to run in from the west through Wednesday, but has quite a hard time at it. You can see the upper air temperatures. It does slowly turn us milder, but it is quite a slow process with the cold air to our east trying to hold on. It will keep us quite cold, but because the showers have been cut off, most areas will be pretty dry, at least further eastwards it will be quite sunny as well, and it will feel continually quite cold. So the cold air will remain in place probably until Saturday at least, for areas further eastwards. But I'm expecting the winteriness to really be cut off through Thursday as those showers do start to subside. If you put on the 2 metre temperatures, it is going to be really quite bitterly cold this coming week. You can see this afternoon temperatures widely around that 2 to 4 degrees in the south, below freezing further northwards. Again, this is going to be a mildest day for a number of days. It's going to get even colder than this. Overnight tonight, widely below freezing, -2 to -4, quite widely, maybe even lower than that, -5 or -6. By the time you're getting up tomorrow morning, and tomorrow afternoon hardly getting above freezing, maybe 1 to 2 degrees in a few spots, maybe 3 or 4 towards the coast, but most inland areas are going to be around freezing. Through Tuesday night into Wednesday, another freezing cold night, widely below freezing, and through Wednesday afternoon, temperatures maybe 4 or 5 degrees, slightly milder there, but again still really quite cold. And then as we head into Thursday, overnight temperatures once again well below freezing, and Thursday afternoon again pretty freezing cold, 2 to 4 degrees, and then into Friday, freezing cold overnight, widely -3 to -5 overnight, and then into Friday afternoon again 3 to 5 degrees, and then into Saturday you can see it is bitterly cold through England, Wales and Scotland, but Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, the temperatures are rising with thicker cloud and milder air masses, and again, we'll just have to see how long that cold air in the east does hang on. Now, if we do go through the longer range now and have a look at the GFS, GEM, ECM, WF, and the ensembles, you can see at the moment we've got cold northerly winds pushing in, areas of instability and low pressure around that are going to be giving those showers and enhanced shower activity in places. You see the westerly flow tries to push in by Saturday, but look, higher pressure builds in and actually keeps that air pretty stagnant and even tries to pull a bit of an easterly flow in for a time. But eventually the westerlies do win out and milder air gets in by early next week at the latest. But as I said, high pressure is likely to be the main influence here, building in and producing an easterly wind. Again, nothing bitterly cold with the air originating from sort of southern Europe, but it will be chilly towards the surface. No snow or anything, but just generally cooler than average. Beyond that, high pressure does move further eastwards as it comes up against a battle against the polar vortex. But remember, we have been hinting at the sun's stratospheric warming and a major weakening of the polar vortex. And if that does happen, the tropospheric polar vortex will not shove this high pressure out of the way. So again, I would be sceptical of those westerly winds really trying to push it away. Now, if you do put in the upper air temperatures for when this high pressure does build in, you can see by the end of this week, we're still in cold air. It slowly gets moderated and briefly milder air does come in, but we stay generally cold in the east all the way through the weekend, for eventually proper milder air does push in. High pressure does build in that generally milder air, but eventually colder air does come in from the east. Again, nothing particularly cold, but generally average or below average. And even when milder air masses are in control, we will see an inversion. And right towards the end of the run, we could start to see a bit of a southerly flow, but it's not particularly mild, with generally still cooler air in and around Europe. Now, if you go over to the GEM, see how that does compare over the course of the next 10 days. Again, a westerly flow starting to return towards this weekend. Higher pressure building in, trying to hold off that westerly flow. And actually, towards day 10, we don't actually see the high pressure properly build in. It's trying to build in, but lower pressure dominates towards Scandinavia. And instead, the high pressure tries to build out into the North Atlantic, and it brings in a similar pattern to what we have right now in just over a week's time. It starts bringing northwesterly winds back in. And this again would be very quite cold. So yeah, very interesting seeing that as a sort of a repeat pattern of what we've got going on at the moment. Big contrast to the GFS, which pulls that high pressure over the top of us and not to our west. If we do compare it to the ECMWF, again, very uncertain northerly flow at the moment, westerly winds trying to push in, high pressure takes it back control, but the mild air does get in, and eventually at day 10, we are firmly under higher pressure. Again, no easterly flow here, so probably slightly milder towards the surface, but nowhere near as mild as those upper air temperatures would suggest. But you can see we're seeing a bit of warm air advection, warm air getting pumped towards Greenland, and I wouldn't be surprised from the looks of it to see a bit of high pressure building up there and maybe plunging a northerly or northeasterly wind in, at least for a time. Again, we'll have to see what happens. Definitely is signs of that high pressure being in control, and whenever high pressure is in control during winter, it will generally be average or perhaps below average. And if that high pressure gets further northwards and blocks up in the northern hemisphere, then it could turn us quite cold once again. We will have to see. Now, after you finish, have a look at the ensembles. This is the midnight run. Ensemble members, as the 6 o'clock run hasn't finished yet. And you can see it is cold the next sort of 3 or 4 days, slowly rising in upper air temperatures towards this upcoming weekend. Then through next week, generally average or above average upper air temperatures. But again, under higher pressure, we'll likely see an inversion, so it won't be all too mild. Some cold runs in the longer term, and again, those are the ones probably suggesting an easterly wind or a northerly wind coming back in, like the GEM was showing. Precipitation is down though, not too much precipitation going on over the course of the next few weeks. Again, indicative of higher pressure building in, giving generally dry and hopefully sunny conditions. Look at the 2 metre temperatures from the midnight run. Yes, turning slightly milder towards next week, but not getting much above sort of 7, 8, 9 degrees. And even in the longer term, only 5 or 6. Again, indicating that that higher pressure building in, giving us an inversion. And again, you can see the higher pressure from the mean sea level pressure here, all trending to around 1,030 millibars. If you compare it to the ECMWF, again, pretty similar. Cold the next few days, above average or average through the longer term, and reduced precipitation in a few colder runs, but nothing really to shout home about yet. So yeah, remaining very cold the next few days, sort of cold peaking through Tuesday and Wednesday, so tomorrow and Wednesday. Snow and ice warnings issued predominantly in the north and west, but as we saw in the UKV, there could be other features, perhaps in the southwest, through the Midlands, and perhaps eastern areas as well through Wednesday. And in the longer term, as we hit towards the weekend, it will turn drier from around Thursday, Friday time, remain fairly cold, especially further eastwards, but then turn generally milder, probably to only really average for this time of year through next week as higher pressure does build in. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you make sure you stay safe out there. Over the course of the next few days, it is going to be very cold and could be wintry in places. So hopefully you do stay safe. And I'll see you again for another video soon.